I was laying in the hospital and I thought, honestly, that I was never going to ski again. I was in a really, really dark place at that moment. I could retire today and be very satisfied, but I don't want to. It's been really hard to sit on the sideline, not being able to do what you love. For me now, is all about getting into the game again. I get goosebumps just thinking about it because it's been a minute since I was. It's a freaking beautiful life to live.
Here comes Kilde, and he's there!
Our guest today is one of the most respected and admired athletes on the World Cup Tour.
The crowd love it.
A fearless speed skier, an Olympic and World Championship medalist, and the 2020 FIS Overall World Cup champion,
The king of downhill fight.
Aleksander Aamodt Kilde. Alex, thank you for joining us. First and foremost, when you walked into the room earlier, I caught my breath. I mean, he's back, he's here. So let's start simple. How are you doing? How's the shoulder?
Mm-hmm.
And how's the motivation?
Oof. We can start with the last. I feel like the motivation is really good. It's been really hard to sit on the sideline, not being able to, do what you love. And for me now, it's all about getting into the game again, and back to the, let's say, second family, and hopefully be able to be part of the fun stuff again. It's amazing to be a couple months away from something that I've worked hard on the last 20 months. It's been a lot of uncertainty, and honestly, right now it feels quite promising. I'm really, really happy with where I am right now. Of course, it's still a lot of question marks, especially regarding winning races. But that's probably the only thing that I should put to the side a little bit in the beginning, and then start with, like I started the World Cup career.
Yeah.
By just being on start, being there, experiencing the first races, the first runs. How does it feel? How am I capable of doing this again? And start from there, and then we'll see.
You look ready to rumble. You look wonderfully calm and poised. I mean, it's been 633 days since that horrible January the 13th. Mm-hmm. I mean, that 13th.
I don't like that one.
Yeah, no, I don't like that one either.
Chills.
But we'll talk about later on some of the ups and downs that you've gone through in your recovery. But now you look as fresh, you look as cool, as calm, and as ready as you've ever been. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I'm still missing my biceps, but that will come too. But I mean, I do feel quite ready. It's not that I've been 20 months without training. So I've been capable of working on my physique and kept at least my legs working. It was not just an injury to my shoulder, but the leg and the calf and everything has come really well. Actually, after what we thought was going to be a problem, it's now working pretty well. So honestly, right now, I feel like I'm not 100%, and I'm not sure if I ever will be where I was as 100%. But as long as I'm within 90% of that, then I think I'm pretty ready.
Yeah, I think the Viking psyche will take care of the rest. You're certainly looking like a Viking again.
Yeah,
that's
well,
for sure.
That means a lot. That means a lot. I do feel like things are coming along. I think it's also wrong to say that I'm 100% ready, because that would be strange.
Yeah.
My start is very important for me to win races, and that's one of my qualities. And right now I haven't done it for a very long time. So we'll see if that has too big of an impact, but hopefully not.
Now, for all you listeners, the production team in the room right now are all smiling. Everybody's really happy with that opening question. Let's go back a bit. When was the first time in your life that you sort of realized this was the pathway for you? How young were you when it wasn't just a hobby anymore, but you wanted to dedicate your life to this game? And was it right from the first turns, or did it something that, once you went through the Bærum Ski Club and so many of those classic Norwegian stories that we report on, it fell into place? or was it in the heart from the beginning?
I think just sport in general has always been a huge part of my life. Just being active, being outside. In the beginning, it was, of course, about skiing, but not only skiing. We had skiing in our family. We had, we were always out doing stuff. And I grew up so my club is Lund, not Bærum, which is a very important thing.
Yeah.
But I grew up close to this hill, just actually ski in, ski out from this, just one T-bar. And so this is where it started. And that's where I really felt the joy of skiing, but it was more with the family than me doing it myself. So it was like the family time. We usually say in our family, common knowledge about stuff. We're not so good at that, but we were really good at skiing. And because that's the only thing we did. So we were out, just having a great time with the family. And my brother is 6 years older than me. And he, of course, started into, the club part of things and started racing and then pushed the limits for me from day one. And since then, it's been a part of my life. And I did a lot of sports on the side, and I had to choose between football, soccer, and skiing. And I'm happy that I chose skiing, honestly.
Yeah.
It's been such a great life and still is.
Your relationship with your brother Andreas seems to have been ongoing. A lot of brothers go their separate ways as they all grow older. But Andreas has been a really classic big brother story, really.
For sure. 100%. I feel like it was very tight in the beginning of our life until he sort of moved away from home when he was 16. I was only 10. And then he was a good skier as well. And then he decided to, instead of going the team way, he went to Denver University and went skiing there for 4 years. And after those years, he decided to go more the finance way. He's a clever guy. So he chose that direction. And I feel like that's where we sort of came closer again.
Yeah.
Because, he was living in the US. It was sort of a lot of distance still with the age gap, 6 years is quite a bit. But then when he moved back home to Norway, then I just felt like we had still a really, really nice connection. He could help me with things, with material. We have a pretty similar build, especially with our bow-legged. So with the equipment has always been quite challenging for us. So we could talk about that. And
Fantastic.
then we figured out the good solution. And now we're working even tighter than ever. And he's my manager together with WWP, but it's a very good setup that we have.
Yeah, that's a fantastic story. And I can hear lots of people back home saying, oh, that happened to me. I lost my brother and then he came back. It's wonderful. Mum and dad are also pretty important, very close to your heart. We
100%.
see so often you referring to your mum, Christine, and your father, Einar.
Yeah.
Is it a key ingredient to success on the World Cup Tour to have this bond with the family? Because we only see you celebrating winning trophies and popping the champagne corks, but there must be some pretty lonely and tough times out there on tour as well.
For sure. I mean, family is, without the family, I would not be here. That's just how it is. And I feel like that's also for a lot of skiers out there, athletes, where, you need a support, mentally support, but also, it's not a cheap sport, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You need your family and your parents to be willing to put you into those situations where you can actually live of skiing. And for me, my family has been a support all the time. And it was not the support of pushing too much. It was more just the actual genuine support that they wanted me to do whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And as long as I went for that 100% and showed that I had passion and I wanted to do this, then I always got that support. And it still is.
And do you remember that day when you sort of said, Dad, Ina, I think I want to be a World Cup racer. And then Dad sort of says, hang on a minute, Alex. You know how many good Norwegians there have been over the past 3-4 decades? Or did he recognize your skill, your ability, your dedication and focus in you from an early age?
I think, honestly, they had that in mind before me. So they could see it pretty early on that I had capabilities in sports, and then skiing sort of came natural because we did that a lot. So they probably saw it before me. I didn't have to say anything to them that I wanted to be the best in the world.
Wow.
I just lived the life as a skier, and then my parents always supported me, and then it built the path. And I was, of course, I said to myself and to them that I wanted to be the best in the world. But it's easier said than done, of course. And sitting here now and thinking back at it, I feel like it was never a conversation with my parents trying to get them to understand that I want to be the best in the world. They knew it before me.
That's wonderful. The perfect family, almost.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, I would say I have perfect parents.
Yeah, no.
I'm lucky that way.
And it rubs off on you. That's why we get this amazing superstar hero that is a gentleman as well. Let's talk about some career milestones, because we could talk for 2 hours on career milestones, to be honest. 21 World Cup wins, as we said earlier, 48 podiums, 4 globes, Olympic and World Championships. When you hear those numbers today, what do they mean to you? And which of those marvelous results make you the proudest?
I mean, the full package I'm super proud of. Because I know about my challenges, I know about my good things, I know what I experienced on the road. And it's hard to pick out one of them, of course. I just feel like the time that I put down this is the result. So this is what you get when you stick to something and you go through the challenges and you just stick to the process. And then you get a result on the paper. And honestly, I think it's cool, but it's not the most important thing for me. Stats and all that stuff, that can be as it is, but I think it's way cooler to look back at, standing against the Brazilians and being the human you are, and showing the world that what you do is with passion and grit. And that's more important than those victories and everything. But of course, that's a result of everything.
Yeah, and you can see it in your skiing. There's passion as well as power in your skiing. When you're celebrating in the finish area, it comes from the heart.
Yeah.
And so many of those things. But you've got a bronze and a silver from the Olympics, so there's something missing there.
Yeah.
You've won Kjetil, you've won Wengen, but there's a few missing on the tour. Are you setting yourself goals as we see the rebirth of Aleksander Aamodt Kilde, or take each day as it comes, each race as they come?
Yeah, I mean, of course you want to win races. That's why on the bottom line you do this, but also right now with everything that I have achieved, and I could retire today and be very satisfied, but I don't want to, because the life of a skier and the passion and the purpose for me right now is to be skiing the World Cup and to be in that lifestyle. And I get goosebumps just thinking about it, because it's been a minute since I was, and I got some distance to the sport. I know that it's a freaking beautiful life to live, and that's what I'm missing the most.
Yeah, no, it's and we've missed you as well, to be honest.
Yeah, and I just whatever comes my way right now, I think if it's a gold medal in whatever or winning races, I just want to get back there and show myself that I got through this challenge part of my life, and I also want to inspire others to, don't give up.
No, that's wonderful words. I love the stats. I love following what you do and getting in deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Yeah. One thing that I've noticed, and when we were researching this show, is that you've already won on the Olympic Super G track in 2022. You've come third on the downhill in Bormio. Knowing that those results are down on paper, in the book, historical, does that give you a little bit of a spring in your step when we get to the Winter Olympic Games. And we'll be going to Kitzbühel before the Olympic Games. I remember winning here and winning in style. Does it help? Does it give you that extra bit of focus because you've already conquered that mountain once already in your career?
For sure. I think it really helps with experience, especially in the speed disciplines. Experience is just probably one of the most important things. And looking back at places that you have done well always gives you a little bit of a little foot in the right direction to win it again or to do well there again. Every year might be different, but in downhill you get the same track, so it's just every year it's also different competitors. You still have those top ones that's usually there, but you have young ones and Olympics and all that stuff. People are just hammering that thing.
Yeah.
So you just got to know that, but of course it gives a lot of confidence knowing that I've won there before, and also that it's a hill with technical capabilities that you need to be able to win it.
Yeah.
And it's not about fast skis. Not only about fast skis. You have the fast skis too, but you need the whole package.
Yeah.
And Bormio is a hill where, it really challenges you. So.
And on a scale of 1 to 10 of being the full package, gnarly, would you give Bormio a sort of a 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10 in comparison to Kitzbühel, a 6, 7, 8, 9 or 10? Because I've heard many athletes before say that full package is what makes these downhills so special.
So if you put Kitzbühel on a 10 as the hardest,
okay,
then Bormio is very close.
Okay,
very close, because it's Kitzbühel is you can sort of put Kitzbühel in 3 different parts. You have the top, which is the hardest in the world, mentally and also physically skiing it. And then the middle part is one of the easier parts of the downhill World Cup, I would say.
Yeah.
And then you have the lower part, which is mentally and physically one of the toughest.
Yeah.
But if you have Bormio as an example, then it's like from you push out of that gate, it's dark, it's icy, it's bumpy, and it's fast. And it's just that's like the whole package is the whole way.
Yeah.
And it's very high average speed, and it feels it's hard to ski up, and it's a very challenging downhill. So Kitzbühel and Bormio, they are definitely up there. But you have all the downhills that we ski in the World Cup is gnarly.
Yeah. But Bormio hosts the Winter Olympic Games, the 25th Winter Olympic Games of Milan Cortina, men racing in Bormio. And you and I love the World Cup Tour. That's almost like our day-to-day business, go to work every weekend. But the Olympics only comes around every 4 years. This will be your 3rd Winter Games. And each time it gets closer and closer, bigger and better. Could this be the big one?
Well, looking back at the 20 last months, I haven't done the best preparation for it to be very successful. But who knows? I go in it with, first I have to make it there, though. Yeah. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
We're not talking about medals. We're not talking about trying to win it. It's just right now, it's all about me getting back into the game. And that's number 1 priority. And then I can answer your question a little bit later.
Yeah, let's answer it a little bit later. I know what's going to happen. I know the answer. Let's move on. Icy slope. We have a little surprise for you on this phone here. Okay. Someone who knows you well. And let's get him to ask you a question.
Okay.
Here he is.
Oh, look at this guy.
Hello, Aleksander. Hello. I'm wondering how it is to finally be the oldest guy on the team. Tell us.
Well, it's not that I don't feel it. I'm feeling quite old these days. So, no, but I do everything sort of, I won't say come to an end, but it does. And right now I'm in a position where I feel like I'm in the sweet spot of skiing, downhill skiing. I'm 33. I'm older. I can be a role model for people that comes into the team. We have Simon Sedleg that joined now in Chile. He's 22. It's really it was so fun when he joined this time, because I got so many flashbacks to when I was a rookie and the first time I came to the team. So that was a really fun time. And I think it's really cool. Of course, we will miss Sebastian. He's been very great for our tech team and for the slalom skiers. So now stepping into the oldest shoes, I feel fine with it.
Yeah, there's no
it's
problem.
all good.
Older the better, I believe, in everything in life. Let's stick with Sebastian Fossolvag, obviously world slalom champion in his own right.
And I got another question for you. In which situation were you the most nervous in racing, but also in life?
Oh, okay. So the race situation, probably the most ever, when I was the most nervous that I've ever been. I've been pretty nervous quite sometimes when I look back at it now. But
I'm so glad you're saying that.
If I have to choose one, then it has to be the finals in St. Moritz 2016.
Wow.
Because then I was it was a Super G. I was fighting for the globe with, I think, 5 or 6 or 7 others.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in the team hospital together with Kjetil. And we usually play cards to just stay relaxed and take it easy. And, we laugh and we have a good time. I didn't smile once. I was just, because the women's race were going.
Yeah.
And we were going to ski the same course. I was looking at them, and it was a very challenging gate that a lot of people skied out in. And I just got more and more nervous. And I was just like, this... I'm gonna F it up. I'm gonna F it up. It's gonna be this is so tough. And then Kjetil, with his experience, he was just, cool as a, how do you say? Cool.
Cucumber.
Yeah, cool as a cucumber. Yeah, and he was just taking it so chill. And that made me even more nervous, because I was fighting against him on the globe, right? And then I came to the start, and I was just, that day was just unbelievable. And I shared the second spot with Kjetil. Voits won, and I took the globe home. But anyways, that was the moment that I was the most nervous in the race situation.
Yeah, you won the Super G title that time. You came second. It was a brilliant race. This is your...
Look at you.
Look at this, 2016. This is your record. First win in Garmisch.
Yeah.
Hey! First win in World Cup Super G Hinterstode. Then fourth Kjetil. That runner-up spot in St. Moritz gives you the Super G title.
Look at you go.
10th Norwegian to win it. How about that? That's how sad my life is. Now, let's go to the second part of that question for Sebastian. Most nervous in life?
That was pretty easy. The proposal.
Oh,
yes.
We're so glad you said that.
You were waiting for that one, right? Yeah, that was nerve-wracking. The whole day was nerve-wracking, because I was in Innsbruck. We were going to... I was going to meet Mikaela. That was her last race. I was going to pick her up in Saalbach. Went there. I knew the whole thing, of course. What was going to happen. She didn't have a clue. And of course, I was just looking at her. Okay, don't spoil it. And it was that was a fun moment.
Oh, it was beautiful.
Very nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she said yes, obviously.
She did.
For all of those,
luckily.
All of those new skiing listeners. Was it one knee?
I can't tell you more.
Okay.
It's a secret.
Good.
Maybe it's gonna come out sometime later.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I'm not gonna spoil it right here.
Okay.
I'm sorry to
You're
tell
the boss. You're the boss. You're the boss. Let's talk about the juniors, the breakthrough. Junior world champion in giant slalom 2013, quickly made your mark in the speed events, and then became one of the greatest speed skiers of your generation. And from a commentator's point of view, one of the most exciting speed skiers of the generation. What was it like joining a team with legends like Svindal, Jansrud, and, of course, the iconic Norwegian triple podium, Valgardena 2015, your very first World Cup podium. Was that something that you were a little bit frightened and scared of, or was that one of the major contributions to you learning to become that superstar skier you are?
I do believe that. getting into a strong team is a huge part of yours or my success and skier's success, because you have so much experience in the team, you have so much knowledge, you have the package you have a good starting package. And then of course it's up to me or the athlete to do the job or the work in the end. But for me, getting into that team where Aksel and Kjetil were just, they opened their arms and they were just, come here, my friend, and we'll support you. But I still needed to put down the work because it didn't came for free, of course. But I just remember that first camp that I had in Chile with them, where I was just starstruck in dinners, and I just watched every step, and I thought that was amazing. And then I got to call them my friends in the end, and it just turned into be such a cool thing. Especially for me, maybe not so cool for them, but who knows? But then in training and stuff, it just worked from the beginning, and I could bring something into the team, and I could take something from them, and now that I'm with only a couple other guys on the team, then I could bring that same vibe and same experience that I got from Kjetil and Aksel.
Didn't feel any pressure because you stepped into their boots very nicely, but they're big boots to step into.
For sure.
You became the new king of the Vikings. You were their main man, and that must have put a bit of pressure on your shoulders.
For sure. I thought, I didn't really think much about it. I felt like it was a pretty smooth transition, because I was lucky to have Kjetil there in the end of his career, where he sort of, kind of smoothly eased out a little bit. He was still there, but he was such a good support. He was always there, and then taking enough pressure from my shoulders, just giving me, a good feeling.
Yeah.
And then when he decided to retire, then I felt like things came really natural. And I don't know if that's normal, but I felt like that at least. And then I did I did feel the pressure. Yeah,
I can imagine. I really can imagine. I remember bumping into you and Kjetil at the airport. I think we were coming back from Colorado one year, and I said, Kjetil, fantastic, and you're stepping in for Aksel, who then retired, and he went, "This is the guy to watch, not me." And he was pointing at you. This is the guy.
Yeah.
This is the guy to watch. This is the guy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of the tougher stories. Some of the harder stories and some of the challenges that you faced in your career. And that's why I used the word resilience in the opening of this podcast. Wengen 2024, one of the toughest moments of your career, a brutal crash, serious injuries, a very long recovery. How do you deal with that challenge? I mean, mentally as well as physically. And how do you rebuild yourself after something that literally brought your life to a standstill in a matter of moments at the bottom of the Laubhorn?
It's been a roller coaster of emotions, honestly, and mentally too. I've been the lowest I've ever been, and also been moments where it's been okay and good. And now sitting here feeling pretty happy. And to start from the beginning, it was just after that crash, or we can actually start before the crash, because that season was a little bit of a different feeling, different vibe. It was, for me, it was just like so much cancellations. We were in Zermatt. We were supposed to race in Zermatt. Everything got canceled. We went over to the US. Everything got canceled. Came back, and the first race we did, or on the speed side, was in Valgardena.
Yeah.
And I just felt off. I was not really that motivated anymore. I didn't know. I just felt like things were falling a little bit apart. I don't know. It was strange, very strange moment in my life. And then I sort of gained that motivation a little bit throughout the season again, came to Alpine, and
Podiums were flowing.
yeah, it was good. I didn't really have that one little touch that I had the year before, but I felt like that was right around the corner.
Yeah.
And Alpine came, and first podium in GS, which was amazing. Probably one of the coolest races I've ever done. in that area to get the automatic wins. Amazing. And then banging came, and I was ready to really hammer. And then I got a little bit sick, or pretty sick actually, and I crashed. And at the moment where I crashed, it was like a lot of pain, a lot of uncertainty. But honestly, when I was laying in the hospital, I was also like, well, maybe it happened for a reason, because of me having that thoughts and feeling before I crashed. I don't really believe that things happen for a reason, but right there and then it was, really felt like it, because deep down in myself, I maybe asked myself the question, do I want to keep doing this for that much longer? Do I want to take a break? And then it came naturally, but just a really painful one.
And you mentioned there that mentally, when you go through something as torrid, as awful, as horrible as you've been through, you question everything.
Yeah.
And as you said, mentally, it pushes you. You don't learn that in the gym.
No.
The coaches can only give you a little bit of advice in that area. You're in a pretty dark place on your own.
For sure. I remember that still. I was laying in the hospital and I thought, honestly, that I was never going to ski again.
Yeah.
Because I looked at my leg and I felt the pain, and things were just, I was in a really, really dark place at that moment. Because nerves and everything was involved, and I just didn't see myself doing that ever again. And that's the deepest honesty, but that's what I thought. And after some weeks, after I think as soon as I could get out of the wheelchair and felt like things were going better, then I saw some motivation. I saw a little bit lighter on things. And then of course I started working my way back, and then I felt like things were progressing really well. Almost too well in the beginning, and then I got infection in my shoulder, and then we're back to scratch again, and that's like then another mental tough situation.
Yeah.
And honestly, the toughest part has been the uncertainty about stuff, not knowing.
Yeah.
I've been injured before, ACL. That really sucks too, but then at least you have sort of a plan. After this, so 2 months you can do this. After 3 months you can do this, and then 6 months you can go skiing. 9 months you should be ready.
Yeah,
that's a way easier thing than being okay. We'll see. No one has seen this before.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can. After 2 months, if you're able to do this, okay, I was able to do this, but I don't know. The uncertainty was just. It's been really, really tough.
And did you have somebody to talk to? Did you share this with Mikaela? Or we go back to the start of the podcast. Perfect parents can become very helpful when you're in these dark places. Did the people around you help you through those tough mental moments?
100%. Yeah, more than ever. So this is where you really feel like family is super important. Your loved ones, everybody around you, that this is where they really matter.
Yeah.
When it's not just about winning races and being successful, but also when it's actually life-threatening.
Yes.
So Mikaela being there at the hospital just when I woke up was also amazing, right? Because I had so many questions. I didn't know where I was. Did I lose my leg?
Yeah.
Did I not? I woke up and I was just talking to Mikaela. How am I doing? And I was just, I just remember that moment, and I will never forget. And I remember it being tough, of course, but also very beautiful because we could share a moment that was quite intense, but also it was only us two in that room, and we were just trying to survive basically. And we were just there. She was there for me, and it was a tough time, but also nice. And then my family came down, and it was my mom is she was a nurse before, so she knew sort of how things goes, and she could take care of me, and she really did. And my dad also was there. He flew back from the US. He was on a work trip. So yeah, the whole family just turned around and gathered.
Wow.
So it was sort of a beautiful moment in a very tough situation.
And then whilst we're going through this sort of period in your life, how difficult was for you when Mikaela got injured? First of all, she smashes herself in Cortina in a downhill in a similar style, and then she nearly stabs herself to death in Killington, Vermont with a ski pole. All of this time while you're having to... What I'm trying to get to here, as a couple, you've both together gone to hell and back, and it's made you closer than ever before. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're very close, obviously. But, you know, these situations really forces you to be even closer. And honestly, I was devastated when it happened. Also because the distance between us physically was so far, so long. I was not able to move the first time. She went straight into the nets, and that was really fresh after weighing too. And I was just thinking, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
And then she walked out, and I was relieved that way. But still, it's very tough to crash in downhill. And yeah, she handled that like she handles everything. Brilliant. And the tougher part was when she crashed in Killington, because I was sitting in my couch at home. I was doing my rehab. Things were, you know, I could have been there. That's what I thought about. Like, maybe I should have been there. And that was very tough for me. And I was just, this physical distance then was just terrible.
Yeah.
And, but then we have FaceTime and we have possibilities to call each other, and she was in good hands. Her mom was there, and yeah. So yeah, it's just very tough when you want to be there for her or for each other, and you're not able to be.
Yeah.
Then it makes just the situation a little bit tougher. But we got through it, and we still talk about it, and we still think that we both can grow from those situations, and we do.
Yeah, I hope the rest of your lives are much more happier and easier. But I think it shows how truly resilient you both are, but how you almost feed off each other to keep that strength and focus moving forwards rather than giving up the fight.
I think it's easier now since my injury is so long, and that's what people talk about and stuff. But honestly, I learned a lot of resilience from Mikaela. She is a role model when it comes to a lot of things, but especially here, because everything that she's been through with her dad and everything, the way that she's been focusing on, I wouldn't say the simple things, but the foundation of how she want to live her life and what makes her happy. Really, really nice, and has made me also handle this last months the way I've done it, because I know it's possible.
That's wonderful words. Alex, wonderful, wonderful words. Let's move on. I could be here for 2 days, but I know I've only got a quick hour, so sorry about that. And don't worry if you're crying at home listening to this right now, because we've all got water in our eyes. Everybody sitting here, some beautiful words. In your comeback from injury, how Mikaela played such an important role, very important part. We followed, thank you for sharing so much on social media, of engagements, of love on and off the slopes. But the first question for me is, you've shared so much, you just want to run away to a deserted beach and take a couple of years off and fall in love away from skiing.
It's funny you say that, because we talk about that quite often. What are we going to do after skiing? And it's sort of a mixed feeling, because we have so much passion and so much, our purpose is in the sport, and this is what we do, and this is what we love. This is the only thing we can do, basically. But we also do love the beach. So, you know, we might just go somewhere, maybe not for 2 years, but for a period of time where we just let it digest a little bit.
A lot of people write to me in particular asking after commentaries, do you help each other from a training perspective, or do you leave Mikaela with her coaches, you and your coaches, and we just go to work? Or is it something that you share, help, and maybe develop new styles, techniques, or plans together?
No, we share everything, and we share also skiing with each other. So I can send her videos, she sends videos to me, and of course her coaches, her mom, everything around that's her team. I'm not going to involve myself and say, hey, I think you guys are not doing the right thing. I think she needs to do that. No, I'm just supportive in her way of skiing and the way she's doing stuff, and then I can come with some pointers. I can say that I think you're capable of skiing that turn even cleaner. That's something I could say.
Yeah.
And she could come to me and say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a very healthy thing in our relationship, because it's our work, and you want to talk to your partner about your work.
Yeah.
And we're just fortunate to do the same thing. And very, very happy about, not trying to step on each other's feet, and trying to be respectful of the process and development and the way you go about stuff. But sharing, I think, is very important, and just being honest about your thoughts, and without stepping on the toes.
And it's a beautiful love story, and everybody loves a good love story, particularly the ladies in the room.
Yes.
But of course, as a guy, I want to know, have you ever had a fallout? Have you ever had a full-on screaming match with each other? Because that's all part of learning to live, love, and work with your partner.
Yeah. No. We don't really scream at each other ever. We're not screamers. If there's something, we talk about it. And I think communication is a key to success, especially with distance, because you have to be honest about stuff. If you're not on the same page, then try to find the page and mix them up together.
That's a wonderful answer.
And it's just like, that's the only thing that works, especially when you can't see each other face to face every day.
Yeah.
Better saying one sentence too much than two less in this situation. That's our experience, and I do think people think the same way. Yeah.
And the multi-million-dollar question that everybody wants to know, is there a date for the wedding yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're keeping you guys waiting, and we're keeping ourselves waiting too, because we have work to do.
Okay, that's great. And I love the fact that you have work to do, because it means that all of the people listening to this podcast get to enjoy a little bit more. But on that note of work to do, you love the mountains, nature, you love to travel. We've heard of your passion for F1. Do you have any thoughts about your life beyond racing? Have you started to consider where you'd feel comfortable, maybe like to go?
Oh, after being away for this long, I do know that skiing is going to be something that I will be a part of for the rest of my life. How? I don't know. Where? I don't know. But I do believe that this is where I have my skills, and also where I can share and contribute positively to the next generation, to people that needs a little support. And then we'll see. Things can change. Maybe after I'm done, maybe I want to go into more real estate. Maybe I do want to, invest in other things, stocks. I don't know. Just do something totally different.
Yeah.
For a little bit. I think that would be cool too, just to experience how it is to live a normal life.
Yeah.
Because what we do is not normal.
I'd just like to put it on the tape for everybody out there. There's always a chair in my commentary box as well. Always. Any place, anywhere, anytime. That chair is ready and waiting.
Are you sure you're needed, though?
I do.
I'm not so sure about
it. With the words that you've used today,
sure.
We've gone from high to low, from tears to joy. Yes, we do need you there. Aleksander, let's move on to our last category, rapid fire. Quick. Quick questions, quick answers. Here we go. Downhill or Super G?
Downhill.
Wow. Coffee or smoothie?
Smoothie.
That's the right answer. Oslo or Colorado?
Oof. You can't ask that.
Oh, it's going to get harder.
Can I choose both?
Okay, that's
Because it's going to be both.
Okay, it's going to be both. I know why you chose both, and so do the listeners. Describe your skiing in 3 words.
Powerful. That's one. Always exciting.
It's called rapid fire.
Yeah, it's not so rapid. I just figured. I wish I was more rapid. Rapid.
Rapid. Okay, there we go. We'll take that. Last show you watched on Netflix?
Does it have to be Netflix?
No, a streamer, any platform.
I just watched White Lotus.
It's good, isn't it? I like it.
It's
Season 1, 2, or 3.
Very dramatic.
Yeah. Yeah.
To say that least.
Yeah. Stop me going on boats. That's a fact. Hero snow or wild conditions?
Hero snow.
Hero snow, yeah. Sauna or a cold plunge?
Ooh. It's annoying that I can't choose both. You have
It's another choose both. Okay.
Yeah,
because it's you, we'll let you get it right.
You go in the sauna and then you go in the cold plunge.
Okay.
So who do you prefer? I mean, both is brilliant.
Yep.
But the feeling after a cold plunge is better.
So we're going to go cold plunge.
So it's not rapid, but it's the long answer.
Okay. And
Cold
you've
plunge.
used up all your double answers. Formula 1 or football?
Formula 1.
Yeah, I love that one. Mountains or beach holiday?
Beach.
Cozy cabin night or big party?
Cozy cabin nights.
Yeah, that goes with the subject. A favorite Norwegian dish?
Norwegian dish, cod.
Do you have a lucky charm?
No.
Finish the sentence. Right before the start gate, I think...
Let's get it.
Wow. And you do. And let's hope it all comes back. Let's get it. Who's the toughest rival you've ever faced on the World Cup Tour?
Marco Odermatt.
Which teammate makes you laugh the most?
Adrian Sarstedt.
Adrian Sarstedt, great.
Easy.
What's one question from journalists you wish they'd stop asking?
How do you feel?
Yeah, you get the sack if you do that in places I used to work. And if you had to choose, toughest at the end, one more Kitzbühel win or another overall globe?
Overall globe.
I love that answer. Alexander, it has been an absolute pleasure. And I've got a funny feeling you're going to pick it up where you left off. Wow. Podiums first and winning races on a rapid rate. Rapid fire.
I'll take that because you've seen a lot.
I can't say thank you enough.
Thank you so much.
And I think that this is just a break in what has been an amazing story. To refocus. I can feel the burning passion in there. And I wish you the best of luck from everybody at the FIS family for this coming season. And we know you're going to be winning again.
Thank you so much. Hopefully you're right.
Alpine Pulse is an official podcast of the FIS, produced by Maniac Studios.